Hey everybody, Emmett Ferguson here, and if you haven't heard the news already, if you're in the entertainment industry, I believe it is the biggest news in the industry, and this is Meg Whitman partnering up with Jeffrey Katzenberg to create a new company called NewTV. I believe that is a code name for it. But my question is, how did Meg Whitman and Jeffrey Katzenberg only raise $1 billion for their project? And before I continue, I do want to say I am selling Meg Whitman's book. It is called The Power of Many. There's a link in the description below to the book, and you can learn so much about her and leadership, and just how to grow a business in general, and how she expanded, moved on from eBay and her career, and it's an incredible story. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. So how did Meg Whitman and Jeffrey Katzenberg only raise $1 billion for their new project? Now, the way I see this, these are two brilliant minds. One is a brilliant mind in entertainment, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the founder of DreamWorks, or co-founder. And we have Meg Whitman, the woman who was responsible for growing eBay and who was able to separate HP, Hewlett-Packard, into two Fortune 50 companies, Hewlett-Packard and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And I will say I still have some skin in the game at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Not much, but a little bit. And I do say this with bias, of course. So, knowing that, if you look at the feat of splitting one Fortune 50 company into two Fortune 50 companies, it's a human resources feat. It is a global feat because you have to worry about, separation laws in every single country. You have to worry about separating distribution and technology and all the software involved, because there was different softwares for the separate organizations, and you have to split all of that. So to know that someone accomplished that and was to create a new company, and was able to get more CEOs and CMOs and CFOs opportunities, and to go from that company where she probably could have just sat for a few more years and to take on a new project like this with Jeffrey Katzenberg, I think that says a lot. This is not just, creating a new production company or whatever. This is huge news. And for Jeffrey Katzenberg to see this and to see the value and to see the importance of having to transition Hollywood to be more technologically forward is absolutely incredible. And I'm going to explain in a second. So, I've studied a lot of books and I've read a lot, and if you study any industry and how Netflix and Amazon Studios and Facebook is changing the industry, you'll understand what I'm saying. But, they got a tremendous amount of investors. They got investors like MGM, Disney, China's Alibaba Group, and for them to only raise $1 billion out of those companies, I can't fathom. I don't know why, because they have so much money. But I'm sure they want it to be more tested as the companies go on, and maybe they have some options to purchase in the future. I don't know. I'm just talking because I don't have that insider information or anything. So let's look at Hollywood, right? Hollywood studios. They are gigantic. They've been running Hollywood for decades, almost a century. And they still run Hollywood, of course. But the thing is that they're gigantic, and there are new tech companies coming out with studios. And you might even include Alibaba as a major Hollywood studio. You might even include Amazon and Netflix as major Hollywood studios today, but we could keep it to like the big five, the first big investors like MGM, Warner Brothers, who have invested in NewTV. So you're looking at tech companies, you're looking at social media platforms, you're looking at indie studios, and all of these companies are creating, a tremendous amount of content. And of course, it's still the biggest movies of the year that are still making the largest portion of the revenue, the box office revenue and all of that. But what's also happening is that these major studios are being impacted television-wise. Television viewing is decreasing, and as the generations change, there's going to be more competition. So looking at that, who else are they also competing with? They're competing with the masses. They're competing with millions and millions of content creators. Content creators distributing free platforms like YouTube. So there are hundreds, if not thousands of content creators creating media on these free platforms, and they're doing it for free, and people are being entertained for free. Now, you know, it used to be that everybody would watch TV, listen to the radio, and they go to the movies. And this is how it's historically been. So the major 5 studios have been able to dominate those places because they could get on there at an affordable price. However, tech companies, I got to work at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and I got to see how technology is evolving the world. Everything is so much faster today. You can't spend if you want to survive, you know, unless you're just comfortable having a couple $1 million, your business can't survive if you're trying to grow your business and stay relevant in the whole world by doing 1 movie a year or even 5 movies a year, unless you're one of these multi-billion dollar studios, and even they're being challenged. So with that consideration, these tech companies like Amazon, Netflix, they're buying independent films, and you know, they just buy them and they really have to do their own productions. And of course they're creating new studios, so they're being more competitive. But looking at all of this, looking at this combination, this partnership between Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman, I mean, I think it is just so forward thinking, and they're not trying to create, you know, tons of low quality content that competes with content creators on the free platforms. But they're also creating, you know, short form content because attention spans are changing. You know, as I mentioned earlier, it used to be that the major studios dominated radio, television, and the movie theaters. However, it's social media platforms, content creators, and they're all creating their own businesses. They're building their dreams, and they are able to do it for free. So not only are these content creators building businesses and platforms for themselves, they're also creating competition for these big studios, and the studios can't compete because they can't stay in front of them as much as these people who are, you know, much more agile, much quicker, and their costs are lower. So they simply can't compete in that. And I've got some noise in the background, and it will probably go away soon, but I hope you can still continue to hear me. Now, you know, these content creators are just dominating YouTube, you know. It's so easy to flip on YouTube, watch this free content, and every minute, every hour, you know, the masses, tons and tons of people, you know, every hour that they're watching content on Facebook or YouTube, that is content, or that is, you know, looking at the big picture, those are eyes being taken away from the major studios' projects. And, you know, that impacts investors, that impacts business growth, that impacts these studios, and that impacts, you know, advertisers because they have less eyes and they're transitioning to these massive free platforms. And this is just my interpretation, is that this is Jeffrey Katzenberg realizing the opportunity of short form content and being able to bring this Hollywood level content to short form and to tons of people, because short form is easier to create, and you know, it helps these studios become more competitive in today's environment. And also with Meg Whitman, you know, he sees the incredible opportunities in technology, and of course one of the top people to be able to bring that into the industry is, of course, I believe, Meg Whitman. And with all of that said, it just absolutely blows my mind that they only raised $1 billion from all these studios. I don't know why. I can't make my own judgments because I'm not a CEO in any studio, so who knows. But this is my interpretation, and I guess if any studio sees this, you know, take a look. You know, the opportunity is right there. And this is definitely a huge partnership. And of course, there's always a chance that something fails. You know, there's always risk involved. But it's the fact that these huge tech companies, you know, like Netflix, they have so much money and so much resources to take bigger risks. And, you know, it just creates and compounds. And of course, I believe Hollywood studios and Hollywood in general is very risk averse, and I understand why. You take risks on people, and there's tremendous career risks involved. However, over time, you know, things are just speeding up and it's getting faster, and you know, risk is going to be less risky in the future. You know, so yeah, with that. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you success in your business and all your physical health endeavors, whether you're looking to get in shape or whatever. And of course, again, if you found this information valuable, if you thought this was useful or interesting, please check out the link in the description below to the book, The Power of Many by Meg Whitman. And it's a very great book, and look into the career of a tech mogul, I believe, Meg Whitman. Check it out. Very interesting, very eye-opening if you're looking to become a leader in tech, or you're just looking for some great management principles or looking for a great autobiography. So thanks again for watching. I wish you success in everything, and have a great day.